Well, there's a ton of news going on out there on the Appalachian Trail, especially after being off for a week and convalescing on Percocets due to the stupid thing I did. You know, do stupid things, get stupid prizes. This is a stupid prize. So, but we got a lot of information out there, a lot of news, a lot of stuff with hikers going on, a lot of stuff coming up. So let's dive right in. So we got who's out there on the trail. Well, we got Greystoke, and he sends in this video of trail conditions while he was out there working on his flip-flop.
Well, does anybody else see the humor in this? I don't know if you can see the blaze on that tree, but this captures my day.
So he's got a lot of issues out there. One, he's got the cold he's got to worry about. He's got blowdowns that, with the ice and the snow, those blowdowns that were weakened, and he's in the southern section of Virginia, and those blowdowns that were weakened due to Hurricane Helene coming through there, now they're coming down due to ice and snow, and that's probably going to be like that in Tennessee and North Carolina. As a matter of fact, I know there's already been stuff come down in Tennessee that they've already been through there one time. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he's dealing with all that, and just he's also using microspikes and snowshoes. So he's walking in deep snow. All that takes more energy from you, takes more time, obviously, and it takes more energy, which means you got to carry more food. So all those are struggles that he's having to deal with out there, trying to find water. Water sources are frozen over. And so, and plus he's dealing with isolation. So there's not a lot of people out there on the trail. I think he said he only saw 2 people over a week to 10 days. So if you get hurt out there and you don't have a signal or your phone's dead because of the cold, that can be an issue. Of course, a lot of access roads get closed down because of the weather. A lot of Forest Service roads get closed down just for seasonal things. So think about that, folks, before you get out there on trail in those type of conditions. He ends with, I don't want to scare people, but this is weather that places extra demands on hikers. They need to know this is not something to take lightly. So it doesn't matter if you're in Southern Virginia or up in Maine, you got to be careful if you're hiking in those type of conditions there. So appreciate you sending in those words of wisdom, Greystoke. And then Luscious, he started a few days ago, started down at the approach trail at Amicalola Falls State Park, and he picked a heck of a week to get started, right? Because the polar vortex is on its way, and we are going to have single-digit temps coming in as far south here in North Carolina. Of course, at elevation, it's going to be even colder. Here's what it's going to look like up there at I believe it's Cold Water Shelter. There that is trail south of the Knock, and it's around 4,500, 5,000 feet in elevation, and they are going to be single digits there, and that's just the temperature. That doesn't include any type of wind chills. So again, the polar vortex is coming in here. Of course, this would be the week right before the single digits, and we're even going to have digits down in the lower teens here where I'm at in the foothills. And of course, this is when my heat decides to go out at the house, right? So I don't know, just can't get away from something out there occurring to me, and there's nothing I could do to prevent that. Anyway, enough about my issues. So let's talk about who's gotten off trail. So Atypical Hiker, he sends in this video.
Hey, Ramdino, this is Atypical Hiker. I am hiker number 4 for Nobos out of Amicalola this year, 2025. This is January the 7th. I'm off trail right now. I have a week's worth of work that I'm going to do. That work will keep me, let's see, the money I make from that will keep me on trail for 2 months. So that's a good thing. I will be back on trail very soon. I've already finished the first 31.2 or 3, whatever it is, to Neil Gap from Springer. Not going to miss that 14, 17 degree weather that's coming in for this Arctic blast this week. But just letting everybody know I'm still out there, or will be back out there very soon. Looking forward to this journey with everybody in the YouTube community this year and your support. Thank you very much for what you do. See you on the trail.
Hey, sometimes you got to get off trail to stay on trail, right? And that's always an issue with folks out there. Not always, but a lot of times that is an issue, is finances. and people don't realize how much more it costs. And of course, it costs more now than it did, let's say, 4 to 5 years ago to hike the AT. So they used to say you could budget $1,000 a month, and now it's more like 1,400, I believe, and that doesn't include equipment and stuff. So got to worry about those finances to stay out there on trail. And then Wolfie, he is off trail due to a banged up knee. So Wolfie, go ahead and talk to us.
Hey Rambino, this is Wolfie here. I'm on the snowy streets of Franklin, North Carolina. I finished and got to Rock Gap on day 9, but on the way down the mountain, even though I was being careful, I slipped on some ice and tweaked my knee. So now I'm gonna listen to my big boss. I'm gonna go home, see my doctor for about a week or so, and then I'll get back on trail from where I left off. But I'm doing good. Just got a messed up knee. It needs taken care of. And I'll be back out here. Thanks for all you do. Talk to you later. Bye.
So that is unfortunate, but he does say he's getting back on, and I had an email from him a day or so ago. He said he'd be getting back on this coming week, so I'm assuming he's going to wait till after the vortex gets beyond us, which will be the end of the week, and then he'll be getting back on trail. He did indicate that he has already been in some single digits and his equipment has performed well. So he did the right thing and got out there and did a few test hikes and equipment break-ins to make sure that what he had was going to work. And so he says it's been working fine. He's been warm and hasn't had any kind of problems out there. So folks, we got from our support list that are getting ready to get on trail. So we got Ripley, and Ripley is actually starting on the Pinhoti. So that means Ripley will be doing the Bama to Baxter tour, and they're starting the end of the month. And we got Nutty Hiker and Sir Farchalot. That's a husband and wife team. They'll be starting on the Pinhoti Trail as well on a Bama to Baxter trip, and they'll be starting the end of the month. Old Spice, he starts the end of the month. Canadian Bacon will be starting the 1st of February, and we got Jameson Thompson. He'll be starting the 1st of February. Wendy Wilson will be starting the 1st of February, and Rachel Karcher, she's also starting the 1st of February. So we got a lot of folks out there. Those others that I didn't mention, they're doing the approach trail. With the exception of Wendy Wilson's just going straight to Springer, and Rachel did indicate she was hoping for the approach, and that depends on hurricane recovery. So there should be no issues with hurricane recovery down in Georgia. There was no damage in there. The ATC told people the trail was closed. It was not closed down there. And so that affected a lot of people economically, and we're going to talk about how the trail economics could be affected now or coming up with this season in just a minute here. But in any case, there's no hurricane damage down there, so there should be no issues. Rachel, with you, go ahead and get started in doing the approach trail down there. And then we got a couple folks in the intro videos. We got Pixie. She sends in her video.
Hey everyone, I'm Pixie, and I'm doing my announcement to hike the AT in 2025. Beginning in March. I've already hiked about 700 miles before the hurricane hit, so I was able to hike from Springer all the way through Tennessee, and that was like before, when it was hikeable. So I've already got about 700 miles behind me. But I just wanted to make my announcement and let everybody know that I'm going to be hiking it in 2025. And if you want to follow me at Hiking with Pixie. Bye. I'll be on YouTube.
And Robin and Vago, they sent in their intro video.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Robin.
I'm Vago.
I'm 42, originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I currently live in Indianapolis, Indiana.
I guess I just turned 44 on this trail this weekend, or this week. I'm originally from the Philippines, and I live in Indianapolis.
So this is our announcement that we are going to start hiking the Appalachian Trail 2025.
March northbound.
Yeah.
So
if you want to follow along, you can follow us along at...
YouTube is Search the Horizon.
All one word.
All one word, Search the Horizon, and we will be posting sporadically.
Yeah.
None of
At
this
most.
video a day stuff, believe me.
Yeah.
So we are excited to be out on the AT.
Yeah.
Neither of us have ever stepped foot on it.
Nope.
And so we are so very, very excited to learn what the trail has in store for us.
Absolutely.
So
So we'll see you on the trail.
And Dog Tag, he sends in his intro video.
Hello, Ramdino. This is Rob Diamond, aka Dog Tag, signing on from Virginia, letting you know that it's official. I'll be doing my 2025 AT thru hike, departing in 39 days from Springer Mountain, heading north. Look forward to meeting and seeing everybody, and excited to keep you up to date, and we will talk to you all later. Take care. Be safe.
So currently we got somewhere around 140 hikers that are on our support list. Always want to have more. We have had as many by this time as somewhere around 250, approaching 300, and that was back in 2022. Of course, the trail registration census is down considerably since 2022, and even down from last year. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But in any case, we do have 140 on that. If you're a thru hiker and you're not on my support list, love to have you on that so people can go, and the hiker community can go and find your social media links. And the link to that is down below in the description. And if you're one of the hiker community wanting to follow along folks that are on that hiker support list and have put their social media out there, that link is down below as well. And another thing that helps me do is if you are on that list and you contact me and ask me for my Trail Angel list, which I keep a Trail Angel list of trail angels up and down the trail that are willing to come help people in a pinch. And the only way that I can determine if you are a thru hiker is, one, if you're on my list, or then I'll also ask you for your registration from the ATC. So if you haven't registered with ATC, and not everybody does, then need you to be on that list in order to share my Trail Angel list. And I'm also need more Trail Angels out there. So if you are a Trail Angel and you're not on that list, and most of you know if you are on it, then contact me. Would love to have you on that I can share with hikers out there. This is a list of Trail Angels that will help people out in a pinch. It's not to be used if there's a shuttle service available otherwise, or some other service that's a pay-for service otherwise. This is not to take the place of pay-for services. This is just Trail Angel that would literally come out and maybe help you with a resupply, or help you with, get to town when you couldn't get a ride or otherwise. So do not abuse that, but it's there because these Trail Angels, they care about folks out there on the trail. So we talked about registrations being down. So registrations are right now, I checked with Amicalola Falls State Park, and as of this morning, they had 20 people that had stepped off on their no-bow hike. That is lower than people that have actually registered. So we've had 34 that have actually registered with the ATC, and we know not everybody registers with the ATC. So we've got but we do have registrations that are up from when I last did my update. So we are up 317 no-bow registrations from a couple weeks ago. We're up 33 flip-floppers and 5 sobos. So that means in about 2 weeks, we've had 355 people register. To kind of give you an idea of how our census is down, we are maxed out on the trail for 2 days, and that's March 1st and March 15th, and it is typical to be maxed out. And by maxed out, that means that the ATC sets the carrying capacity for hikers starting at a given point, typically Amicalola Falls State Park at 50. So it doesn't matter if you're number 51, you're still going to be able to register. You're still going to be able to hike. That doesn't mean they close down registration or anything like that. They just set that at the carrying capacity. And so right now we've only got 2 days. As opposed to last year, we had multiple days in there. And this was just last year, even on a year that was down, registrations are down. So it's a little early yet for that to completely populate itself, but typically by now, everybody that has registered, or the vast majority of them, have already registered. So this year is going to be no exception for it being down in a steady decline of registrations since 2022. Now, some folks would blame that on Hurricane Helene and people being reticent to get out there on trail because they're worried about the trail not being open. And a couple things about that. So one, of course, the trail has always been open to Georgia. It was not affected by the hurricane. Sections of North Carolina were. Tennessee, a lot of Tennessee was affected, and of course, Southern Virginia. But all those areas, with the exception of less than 10 miles, have been punched through. So they're not completely clear. In other words, you're still going to have logs on the side of the trail. It's not going to look like the trail did before, but you're going to be able to get through there. So they've punched through. The treadway is open through there. Now, there are some trees, as I mentioned before, that continue to come down that were already weakened. The root balls were weakened, and now we've got winter closing in with the weight of ice and snow is going to bring more down. The Carolina Mountain Club came up and helped the Eastman Hiking Club clear some areas they had previously cleared before. But you're still going to be able to get through there. So it is not a reason this year for you not to hike. That one section through there, about 8 miles, they're going to need about 3 more outings to get out there. And right now the weather's not cooperating, but that is the hardest hit area on the trail, and that's around Iron Mountain Gap, from Cherry Mountain Gap to Iron Mountain Gap. So there's places in there that looks like the mountain was just blown away. All the trees, of course. And they've just completely laid down everything. Just about 95% of the trees are horizontal in there now. And so they're going to get that cleared, but that is the worst part of it. It's going to take them probably 3 outings plus to get through there. Weather's got to cooperate. Right now, they have been going up there in deep snow. They've been going up there in cold, below freezing temperatures. Of course, when it's below freezing, you can't do any trail work. And when there's all this snow and 8 inches of snow to a foot of snow on the ground, you can't see the trail. You can't see where the damage is to actually fix the damage. Plus, the ground is so hard when it's frozen, you can't do anything with that, but you can saw. So they've been doing that up there. And then on days that it's warm enough or where the sun's hitting it and it warms it up, they have been fixing the trail. But it is just, it's a lot of work. A lot of hard work. We're going to talk about that again here in just a minute. But if you are hiking and you get to that area and it's not cleared for some reason, my understanding is the ATC is supposed to be coming up with a reroute, but if they don't, I've got a reroute for you, and I'll be sharing that later on. And then there's always a shuttle to get around that area. So do not let that affect when you're going up there. So one thing the ATC is recommended that people do a flip-flop this year to give them more time to punch through and fix the trail up there in the areas of Tennessee and North Carolina and Southern Virginia where the damage was. And I'm not completely in agreement with that, and I'll tell you why. Those folks up there were lost a lot. In the case of Uncle Johnny's, they've had completely tear down and rebuild, and people lost all their SOBO, plus all just their typical. Most folks up there do some type of outfitting work, so they've lost their outfitting business coming in. Shuttles lost, typical hikers coming in. Down in Georgia, when the ATC told everybody not to hike and essentially shut the trail down, not officially because they don't have the authority to do that, but they did that. That took away all these reservations. People canceled the reservations thinking that the trail was not hikeable, and that was in prime season for hiking in the fall. And so people have lost that up in Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and they can't wait for flip-flop season to get here. They need that money. Let's just say it like it is. They need that money coming into their economies now. And so they count on the no-bow season to come in. Of course, they count on the SOBO season too, but they count on having, section hikers and day hikers, and all that was taken away from them in the fall and early winter. And so they need people on trail now, people getting up there. So that's why I do not believe that telling people that a flip-flop is the way to go. Yes, trail maintainers would like for there not to be people on trail so that they could fix the trail without having to stop every time a hiker comes by, but they understand that that is absolutely not possible. And they want you up there too, because they know what it means to the folks out there that depend on hikers coming through. So I would say that's not a good play by the ATC to tell people to do a flip-flop this year. I think it needs to be all systems normal. The trail's open. It's going to be punched through. It's going to be different. It's going to be different no matter what. It's going to be different for years. So this year is not a reason not to go. This year is not a reason for everybody to try to do a flip-flop. So get on trail and let's get out there and enjoy the ATC and get some monies flowing back into these communities that were devastated. So Mount Rogers Appalachian Trail Club, that is around the Damascus area. So from the Tennessee state line, Tennessee-Virginia state line on up into Mount Rogers area, they have all that is open. And even the stuff, the trail where it goes on the Creeper Trail, which was completely, devastated. And that section there above Damascus up to White Top is closed, and it's going to be closed for a long time, but the trail is open through there. The treadway that is shared by the ATC, including the trestles that are shared by the ATC, were not damaged. So that is open, but they did want people to know that there's going to be some climb unders and climb overs there because of trees coming down. The biggest section that they said there'll probably be some places around there is around the Creek Junction to Bear Tree Gap. So thanks a lot for Annie sending me that information in. That is good information for folks to have. And then also Tennessee Eastman checked in. They indicated that from Unica Mountain, and actually it's a little closer to Iron Mountain Gap, so not all of Unica Mountain Gap to Unica Mountain to Iron Mountain Gap is not hikeable, but there are sections through there that aren't hikeable, particularly around from Cherry Gap to Iron Mountain Gap. But they are working through there. They've got like 0.4 of a mile on the Cherry Gap to Unica Mountain section, and then a 0.6 of a mile on the Cherry Gap to Iron Mountain Gap section. Like I said, it's going to take them a few more trips out there, but they are going to get that done. But that is some of the more complex and dense areas of sawing that they are going to have to do in there. Currently, there are some plans for the ATC, or correction, for the National Forest Service to harvest some of that down timber in there, particularly where it's so dense. I'm for that because those logs sitting horizontal in there are not doing anybody any good. And the National Forest was created as a resource for building materials, basically, and as a resource for whatever wood materials we needed for our economy many, many years ago by our founding fathers. And so, if that wood's going to be down, then it's no good to anybody rotting. So it needs to be harvested. However, harvesting, that's going to be, I would say, probably difficult because their methods are mainly for harvesting standing timber. So I don't know how they're going to get in there to do that, and there's certainly going to be a lot of damage done to the side of the mountain, to the soil in there, and that includes damage to the trail. So right now, when they're in there working on root balls and stuff, they're going to have to come back in there and do a lot of work to fix places that are rutted out from heavy equipment and logging equipment, if that happens. So that's not a done deal. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. So that's going through a bureaucratic nightmare to get, for even people to even talk about that. So we'll see if that happens. Certainly if there's harvesting going on, there's going to have to be a reroute. And anytime you reroute a trail, that again is a bureaucratic nightmare of doing studies and everything else to try to determine what this is going to affect where, what type of soil disturbance is going to happen. Obviously, the soil disturbance for rerouting the AT is going to be mild in comparison to what it's going to be getting heavy equipment in there to do the logging. But nevertheless, those are some things that are kind of happening there. Another thing that's happening is there's some talking to the ATC by folks about trying to get some of the resiliency funds into the hands of the trail shuttles up there so that they can get people around those areas that are going to be closed if that does happen. I'm sure if they log it, they are going to close those areas to hikers. And so when that be the case, then the hikers need to get shuttles around there, and possibly the resiliency fund could, pay for some of that. I don't know. That was set up awful quick. Don't have all the bylaws of what that was supposed to be spent on, but I do know it was supposed to be spent specifically on the trail. Unfortunately, I have seen where they're going to do some spend it on some studies that don't have anything to do with Helene, and that is not why people gave their money for it. So I'm hoping that the smarter heads or cooler heads will prevail, and the ATC will spend that money where it needs to be spent. I can actually see clearing the trail, what the hiking club's doing, being the easier part of the whole bureaucratic mess of, whether or not they harvest that timber, whether or not they get a reroute around it, whether or not you get money from the resiliency fund to help out with any of that. I think the easiest part is hauling equipment up there in the deep snow and sawing the logs out of the way and clearing the trail. I think it's going to be a whole lot. Literally may take an act of Congress to get something moving along. I mean, what are we now? 4 or 5 months since the hurricane, and we still don't have a plan up there from the National Forest Service. I'm hoping that the ATC has reroutes already in their pocket, shovel ready to pull out. But I don't know. I do have a request for information into the ATC, asking them just those questions, and I'll get back to you and let you know if they got back to me on those or if they did not. So some news that I just got notice of: there is a bridge that has now been marked or deemed unusable by the National Forest Service up in New Hampshire. It's around NOBO mile 1,874, and it crosses the west branch of the Peabody River, where the ATC does so, and this is going to require a ford. And so don't know if they're going to fix it. According to my sources up there, and this is coming from Whispers, our northern correspondent, he says there's been a push in the last 10 years maybe to eliminate a lot of the trail infrastructure. So as it ages and becomes unusable, the National Forest Service is not allowing it to be replaced. And so as they're wanting to get it back to the wilderness. And so if that be the case, then this bridge won't be replaced. It's going to be a ford right now anyway, even if it does get replaced or gets reinforced. But until that time, it's going to be a ford, and during high waters, that can be an issue through there. So, this again is something that that folks are going to have to be careful as they're moving north and going up through there. So the norovirus is out there in the U.S., and I have seen a lot of stuff in the news about how the norovirus has really ramped up just in the general population. Now, we know the norovirus typically comes to the trail, and it usually waits to rear its ugly head in March, mid-March to late March, and it usually starts somewhere in the Smokies and spreads up there into central Virginia or northern Virginia. But it usually starts in March, and that's when the bubble gets to the Smokies, and everybody is the Smokies only allow you to camp around shelters. They don't allow dispersed camping, no stealth sites, and so people have to stay in the shelters or around the shelters, and some of those shelters, one, aren't clean, two, a lot of people around them, and three, some of them don't have privies. They have a toilet area, which is basically a field or in the woods. And so that just lends itself to filth and norovirus, which norovirus basically comes from ingesting somebody else's fecal matter. But last year it came to the trail in Georgia. It actually, one of the first shelters that people come to, Hawk Mountain Shelter, and it came there in March. So the first I got a notice of it was middle of March by Clover, who is a trail maintainer down there in Georgia. I haven't gotten any notice that it has come to the trail yet, but it is out there in the general population. And if it gets to Hawk Mountain Shelter, then somebody brought it in from outside. It didn't originate here or from the trail. So people just need to be aware of that. Make sure that you're doing everything to keep your hands clean and not sharing food, not putting your hand in somebody else's gorp bag or food bag or anything like that. We've lost another awesome hostel. And this hostel is up in Virginia, and this was the Stumble Inn hostel there in Fort Royal, Virginia. So Texas and Stumble started that. They were thru hikers and started that a few years ago. And I think it went really well for them. But part of what their mission is to help out children. And a lot of these children are children that come from backgrounds where they're very modest backgrounds. They don't have a lot. And so they couldn't otherwise be able to get into outdoors. They couldn't afford the equipment, or they couldn't afford just to get there, or their just family life doesn't allow them to get there. And so this is, they have started a mission towards those type of children called AT Kids, and it's been very successful for them. And they are going to spend more time on that mission doing that. And so that was going to be time taken away from the hostel. And so they just didn't feel like they could do both, and felt like their calling was more to the children. So I think that's awesome. Hate to lose a hostel up there. But in any case, that's great to know, and appreciate y'all letting us know. The reason Texas let me know is mainly because, he's concerned about people flip-flopping, and since the ATC has pushed for flip-flopping so much this year, and he wanted to make sure that people knew that they were not an option any longer. And then Fresh Ground and the Leapfrog Cafe, they are going right now, having his Nobo fundraiser for Nobo season. So right now he's raising money to feed hikers. So Fresh Ground stays on trail for 6 to, he doesn't claim it, but somewhere around 9 months out of the year. And most of that is spent on the AT, and he feeds hikers. So that is all he does pretty much, is feeds hikers, takes care of them. So he's a trail angel out there who's looking out for the hikers, and he meets them out in the field, out on trail in the middle of nowhere, and feeds them. And if you walk away from Fresh Ground's table and you're not full, that is your own fault, because not only has he got any type of food you want, but he's got folks that are on vegan diets, vegetarian diets, people that can't have, what is it when you can't have the germ out of the seed? Oh, I can't remember what that is now, but anyway, he will cater to you whatever your diet is. So he's doing his fundraiser right now, and that is running for the next couple weeks on into February when he gets out there on the trail. So down below is a link to Fresh Ground's Facebook page, and there he'll have every way that you can think of to where you can go and give to him. So, Venmo, PayPal, snail mail, he can take all of that. Speaking of trail angels, I think I said it before, but if you want to be on my trail angel list, and this is a list just for thru hikers, and just for people that I verify. I don't give it out to people at large unless I know they are a thru hiker. If you'd like to be on that list, then send me an email or a DM. I'll be glad to put you on that list. Let me know what area you service and how they should contact you, and of course your name, and I'll be glad to include you on that list. So some personal things going on with me. So today required maximum effort, because as I said, it hurts. I can't type with this hand. I am getting mobility back into it. Hopefully I'll be getting this soft cast off this week and going to a movable cast. But until then, I have to rely on Google dictation, and it don't always get my Southern accent just right. But thanks for everybody that sent prayers and good thoughts and good vibes my way. Anything other than a high five, because I don't do high fives with this. Thanks a lot for all you're doing, and appreciate that. Now you can include my neck and back in that, because when I fell out of that tree, I fell on my head, and I've done something to my back and my neck. Didn't break them, so I'm blessed that that's all I broke, that all I had to do was have a plate installed. Of course, now I've become a human barometer, and with this polar vortex coming through, I'm knowing that it's coming through. But in any case, thanks a lot for that, and I greatly appreciate that. And some other thank yous to some folks out there that have sent me some things over the past month or so. So at the end of days, I had 2 people come up and bring me some things that they thought of me about. One of them was and I'm sorry, I cannot remember your names. because there was so many people talking to me at end of days, and I was trying to make sure everybody was, enjoying themselves and helping out Fresh Ground a little bit with the coffee and stuff. But in any case, sorry, I'm terrible with names anyway, but thank you so much for that. I had an individual thought of me when they were in an estate sale and they found a GPS device. So they gave me that. It's brand spanking new. I have not had time since then because of my working with this mess right here. I hadn't had time to try to figure that thing out, but I'm going to and see if I want to invest in the subscription for that. And then I also had somebody bring me a challenge coin from the Riverside Military Academy. So the Riverside Military Academy, I'm not exactly sure where that is. I know there's a lot of military academies, and these are basically, I think, what they call finishing schools for individuals. And it used to be boys, and now I'm sure they're boys and men. I mean, boys and girls. But they are schools, high schools, and maybe even college for, for folks that are maybe choosing military as a career. But in any case, a lot of those are in the Virginia area. I'm not sure where Riverside Military Academy is. If the individual who gave this to me knows that, let me know down in the comment section. But thanks a lot. A challenge coins means that somebody has given me this because they see something good in me and want me, on the back it says presented by the President for excellence. So that means something to me. And so I greatly appreciate you giving that to me, and I will continue to persevere for excellence in all that I do. So thanks a lot for that. And then I also had Bartman and Funny Honey made me a charcuterie board. I don't know how to spell charcuterie, but I do know you can put ham and cheese and crackers on it and serve that up, and it's mighty good. And this is a gorgeous charcuterie board that they made for me. They put my logo on it, so thanks a lot for that. Bartman and Honey, Bunny Honey, is it? Yeah, Bunny Honey, thanks a lot for that. Greatly appreciate the effort you went into making that. It looks like it's walnut. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous design there. So thanks a lot. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks a lot to all you folks out there from over the year have supported me through, Patreon, or supporting me through Super Chats, or through purchasing merchandise at my merch store. Thanks a lot for all of that. Appreciate that. You folks that subscribe and just watch, appreciate what you do as well, and sharing this channel with other folks. So leave a comment down below. Love your comments. No question is a stupid question, and look forward to seeing y'all again next week.